Hey there, thanks for riding with us. Now let's get back to some Road Gang Radio, live from TXTA in Austin, Texas, with Jimmy Mack and Lindsay Lawler.
We're Texans here. That's all right. That works.
We're Austin Texans. By the way, I'm part of the colony of Louisiana, by the way. That's sometimes how Texas views us. I told Lindsay that Louisiana is too small to be a nation and too big to be an insane asylum, although I sometimes think that it's a penal colony and a funny farm for all the Texans they've had enough of. They send them our way into the city of New Orleans. There's lots of them. There's lots of Texas license plates in New Orleans. You want to know why?
Why?
It's all New Orleanians who go to Texas to get better insurance rates.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
People think all these Texans got here. I said, it ain't Texans, man. It's people from Louisiana finding cheaper insurance rates, buying cars over there, and saying they live at their auntie's house in Houston.
Aunties.
And then driving back into the city of New Orleans. And by the way, we often talk about the fat cats.
Is that a fat joke? Why are you looking at me when you say that?
Because they wade through the swamp,
Okay.
and that, of course, means Washington Trucking Week. You don't get a chance to do this often, Lindsay, so why don't you do me the honors of introducing our next guest?
Well, I would love that. I never get to talk to Collin Long, who is joining us today. It sounds like it's every morning it's a toss-up, like, who will we have today? Luckily, we get Collin Long because I've been wanting to talk to him for a while. Washington Truck Week, of course, with the good people of OOIDA, where we dive into the latest news up on the Hill, what is happening today. Collin Long, he's the Director of Government Affairs. It only makes sense that we are talking with you, Collin, today as the FMCSA appointed, and obviously Derek Bars to take over as the administrator. So lots to dive into. But more importantly, Collin, I just want to say hi and talk to you about what kind of music you're listening to, and nothing that is pertinent to what we should be talking today. But good morning, friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's interesting to talk to someone else today. I wasn't expecting it.
Oh, I'm going to take that as a compliment, even if it's not.
It's a pleasure.
You can hear the warmth in his voice. He usually comes on so cynical. Hey, Jimmy, you ready?
Hey, Jimmy.
Line it up.
Okay, well, I'm going to lighten it. Collin, I'll ask you this. I'll start with my absurd / dumb question.
Lindsay's dumb question of the day, number 1.
Thank you. So, okay, Collin, if the FMCSA had a walkout song, what would it be? No, let me say this. If OOIDA had a walkout song that you got to pick, what would it be?
Louis Pugh would override him immediately.
He would, but he's not on today, so he doesn't get to. If Collin Long is being announced as the OOIDA representative and you're coming on, it's the Super Bowl of OOIDA, what song are you walking out to?
I don't know. I have this answer. Everyone talks about this when you go to a baseball game, and everyone has their perfect answer. I don't have one for OOIDA, but it's funny you mentioned this because we were talking about walkout songs when our Vice President Louis testified in the Senate last week. Like, what would everyone's walkout songs be? And of course, we were coming up with all the traditional trucking songs. And then we were like, well, wait, there's someone testifying from the American Bus Association. What's a classic bus song? And all we could come up with was the wheels on the bus go round and round. So
wouldn't that be so anticlimactic? Like there's this huge buildup. Welcome back to the main stage, Collin Long from OOIDA. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
No, I'm sure there are better bus songs out there, but in the spur of the moment, we just could not think of one. So we had a good laugh about that. But
on that note, everybody in the chat, give us your bus walkout song. All right, we can get more serious now. Thank you for letting me digress there.
Hey, Collin, how are you, by the way? And welcome to a special Texas edition of Washington Trucking Week. And, of course, all they're talking about down here is insurance rates. But there is really good news.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be clear sailing. The Commerce Committee gave their seal of approval pretty easily, right, to Mr. Barr. He will be actually setting himself up relatively soon, correct?
Yeah, it was fairly easy. I mean, it was a party line vote, which, frankly, surprised me. I thought there would be some Democrats supporting Mr. Bars, but maybe they are frustrated with other nominees that are making a point to oppose whatever's coming out of the Trump administration. I'm not entirely sure because I thought Mr. Bars had a pretty good confirmation hearing a couple weeks ago and said the right things to garner bipartisan support. But I think the opposition probably stems from something outside of FMCSA. But the good news is you're right. The Commerce Committee has taken us one step closer to having an administrator to hit the ground running over at FMCSA and start implementing all of those 9 initiatives as well as several other initiatives we've been pushing for and they've been making progress on. So the next step is the Senate floor. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Unfortunately, the Senate is kind of on the horizon of their August recess. It should start here next week. I'm not sure they're going to have time to get Mr. Bars confirmed on the Senate floor before then, which is unfortunate because it's several weeks of still waiting for someone to be in place. But we are happy that he is now one step closer, and we think he will certainly be confirmed on the Senate floor with a Republican majority, potentially picking up some Democratic support. We'll see what the conditions are like.
There was no attempt to stop it, though. That's what I make really clear to people. There's a lot of people who don't want any vote held against them, and like I said, there were ways they could have made life really interesting and difficult for him, and it was kind of like, yeah, we're voting against this, but move on.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Lindsay's dumb question of the day, number 2.
Thank you. So I'm here to have a OOIDA for dummies, or Washington Truck Week on the Hill for dummies, but in all seriousness, knowing that this is a pretty, I know you said there's this waiting game might be a little longer for the actual officialness, so to speak, to come through.
Yeah.
But knowing that it is unanimous and this was a bipartisan kind of situation here, does it make the waiting a little more relaxed? Like, can we focus on other things, knowing that this is probably a solidified kind of thing? Does that make sense?
Yes and no. I mean, August, D.C. gets pretty dead in August. There's not much going on Capitol Hill, at least. But that's when the agencies can really get a lot of work done. But there's only so much they can do without an administrator in place. And when we at OOIDA are looking for movement on a number of fronts, I mean, not only those 9 initiatives, but we want to see some movement out of FMCSA on broker transparency. And I don't think that can happen until there's an administrator in place. So all of our hopes for some good news on broker transparency are probably being delayed a month, maybe even more, because they're not going to roll it out on his first day in office. I don't assume, but yeah, I mean, work continues in earnest. We keep pushing for what we want to see come out of the administration, and hopefully they get to the point where Mr. Bars is put in place, the Senate confirms his nomination, and he starts taking control at FMCSA, and they move on a number of these things.
I wanted to, and by the way, Lindsay, I have bad news for you. It wasn't a dumb question at all, actually, because it sets up my next thing. What's interesting, too, is the fact that one of the things the administration has learned is that it from last time in regards to comedy, it has stopped those preponderance of interim replacements, and they don't want to jeopardize. They don't. I mean, it's part of the reason why they just don't name him as the interim director, so he can hit the ground running and all that kind of stuff. Is they also want to make sure that he does get confirmed with nobody on the other side deciding, I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to make some real mischief here. Is that part? I don't know the answer to that, Collin. I'm actually asking you. It sounds like they're not bull rushing people into place, although they did a lot of bull rushing early on in the administration. Not here. It feels like they're kind of going through process with this, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And we've, wanted it to move faster. Everyone wants everything in the Senate to move faster when they see a prize at the end. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be any opposition. A lot of times, if senators want to make a point of something by opposing the administration, especially a nominee like this, they'll do it for, if I'm being honest, a more high-profile nominee. And that's not to say FMCSA is not an important agency. It is the most important agency in a trucker's life. But you're probably not going to see Derek Bars held up to make some sort of a political point. But
paging Tommy Tuberville. I mean, that's but that's the great example of that in the last couple of years, guys. I'm not picking on Tuberville because of his party affiliation. He's the most infamous version of that. The idea that it's like nobody opposes this. Nobody's against this whatsoever, but I'm just going to make a little mischief here. Nobody's going to make any mischief. It doesn't look like anybody is, and it seems like that part of the reason why they're not bull rushing or putting him in there already is they want to prevent any sort of mischief. I think they like the guy they got and want to make sure that he gets there, right?
I mean, I don't know what the point of the mischief would be because Mr. Bars has done quite an excellent job of gathering support across the industry from stakeholders, ranging from law enforcement to large carriers to us small carriers and professional drivers at OOIDA. So if you're going to hold it up, all you're really going to do is piss off the trucking industry because we all want to see FMCSA start moving on these initiatives. and any sort of delay in that is a bad outcome for drivers and a bad outcome for small business truckers. So let's get it going.
Let's pivot.
Pivot?
And let's talk about the EPA and all the goings and the doings. And we can always mix back in Mr. Barr because there's a lot of this is applicable. Let's kind of talk about the EPA situation that's going on right now on the Hill and where you guys kind of fall and stand on this. We're talking about, of course, the proposal to rescind the Obama-era endangerment finding.
Yeah. So that's basically the foundation that all of the recent vehicle and engine standards involving emissions have been built upon over the last, 15, 16 years. I think the endangerment finding was from 2009 for truckers. I think they'll most acutely remember the 2011 hassles of emissions reductions technology on trucks. We're not entirely sure all of that is going to be immediately undone if this rulemaking, or I should say this endangerment finding, is reversed, but there's hope for it. I mean, I think EPA has made it very clear they want to roll back some of these environmental regulations that just aren't based in technology and aren't based in the capabilities of what technology can deliver. And I think we experienced a lot of that in 2011 when folks were forced to buy trucks with new equipment for emissions reduction, and it frankly didn't work. I mean, our Vice President Louis Pugh talks about how much time his truck was at the dealer trying to get fixed and how much it cost him as a small business trucker. So we're happy that might be on the chopping block, but I think we're also extremely happy that the Biden administration policies that were set into place late in 2024 probably won't move forward. That's the GHG Phase 3. I don't see that happening under the Trump administration, especially if they wipe out this endangerment finding, which is something we're going to encourage them to do.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, I'm just going to say a dumb thing, what I like to do. If from an EPA perspective, if we the smokestacks, if we could have glitter come out of them so we weren't emitting smoke and chemicals, I feel like that would be a nice pivot. But in all seriousness, my dumb question.
Lindsay's dumb question of the day, number 2.5. We're not going to count the last one.
Thank you. Is like,
last one was good.
Thank you. I feel like we're like, I don't know, just hearing you talk about, I don't know why this just hit me in this moment, EPA when it comes to trucking, like, it feels like one of the most difficult things to tackle when something is so, trucking is obviously old school, so set in ways that are not environmentally friendly at no fault of its own. It's just the nature of the literal beast.
But wait.
Correct.
As Collin will tell you, though, and as many people will tell you, would you rather be burning gasoline or diesel? And the answer, of course, is diesel.
The answer is diesel, right. So I guess that is the irony of it all, is that it is set up for success, but it feels so backwards. So I don't know what my question is, rather just to bring up the idea of is this the when we think of all the issues you guys have to tackle there up on the Hill that the battling that takes back to you guys at OOIDA, is, for my dumb question, EPA, is that the one that you're always like, is this the what we're always pushing through? I don't know. That just feels like the hardest one for me to tackle when trucking, all the things we love about trucking. The kids like, blow the horn, blow the smoke, smokestacks, the big rigs on the road. It just feels like the difficult one.
Well, we're now at dumb question 1.5, by the way. I'm going to follow up with that, Collin, as you kind of ponder that. Is in some ways a PR problem because it's so much easier to go after truckers because of those smokestacks, because of the general public misunderstanding of what those engines do and what those engines represent. That there is a genuine misunderstanding of that, when in fact the other thing is too, Lindsay, and Collin can tell you, although the administration is gambling in another direction, the idea is that it's a whole lot easier to go after guys who are rolling through your state as opposed to living in your state, because when you start putting the knife, the EPA knife, to the folks who are driving four wheels on a larger scale, they tend to go home to your district and vote you out of office. Whereas the truck driver rolling through Rhode Island, so what?
No,
he's
there and gone.
He's there and gone.
That makes sense.
Is there? I mean, do you guys must feel constantly beset? Like, why do you come after us first? We're not the problem. We're not the majority of vehicles out there on the road. Is that kind of the struggle?
I mean, and it's not just environmental regulations. It's safety regulations. It's all kinds of things coming out of Washington where we feel like truckers are the guinea pigs. I mean, we still have to fight against VMTs on trucks only as a way to pay for our highways because Congress is too afraid to increase fuel taxes. I mean, we're always kind of at the tip of the spear, and the spear isn't doing any good, unfortunately. But I want to go back to a term Lindsay used, and it was backwards. And I think that is the core of our frustration with EPA under the Obama and Biden administrations. They were doing environmental regulations backwards. They were trying to force the industry into technology and into their perceived improvements when that technology wasn't quite there yet. So unfortunately, we were the guinea pigs. And I think we experienced that in 2011 with technology that was forced upon us by the federal government, and it didn't work. And as a result, a lot of our members spent their time down. They weren't being productive because their trucks weren't working. They were seeing less fuel efficiency, which was costing them. And I think we kind of looked at the regulations that came out under Biden and said, here we go again. They're going after GHG, phase 3. They're forcing electrification when the technology for an electric truck fleet is by no means there. So what type of outcome are we looking at when these things really kick in 2027 and 2030 for the heavy vehicle industry? And it wasn't going to be good. So we're particularly pleased EPA is going in a different direction on this because they're learning from the lessons of 2011. And it's not to say we don't support cleaner air. We certainly do. I think we have squeezed quite a bit out of trucks as far as emissions are concerned. But why are we continuing to squeeze, and why are we pushing forward on electric mandates when the technology just isn't there, and we know it's going to jeopardize a lot of small trucking businesses?
Collin, speaking of backwards, I have to ask you why the heck you got into this industry to be when in trucking that is or should be a fast-paced industry trying to work with government that is the slowest thing in the whole frickin' world. It's like a recipe for disaster or success. I mean, is your everyday, are you bald? I know you're not, but
no,
are you,
he's quite the
I
opposite.
know you're not. I know you're
Mm-hmm.
not, but it's just so. We mentioned yesterday, Collin, I was speaking to somebody, we were talking about committees, and I'm like, so many things that from like an image perspective, I've worked with, but it's like, I bring up the issue and it's like, okay, we have to go through all the employees and the staff, and then we got to go through the board, and by the time they get back to me on, okay, thumbs up, I'm like, it's over. It's over. That's over and done. And it feels like that's your whole world. It's never over and done until you get the government stamp, but you are in a fast-paced mindset working with the slowest mindset ever. Do you wake up and you're like, here we go again every day?
Yeah. DC is chaos right now. DC's been chaos for a number of years, and I think what we lack in movement, in rapid movement, we make up for in the breadth and depth of the issues we fight for our members on. So, like, I'm by no means an environmental lobbyist, but here we are talking about environmental regs and how they affect our members. I'm not a labor lobbyist, but I often go to Capitol Hill and talk about things like compensation and working conditions, and we cover a lot of ground. There's always activity in some field we're working on, which keeps us going, but there are those issues that just languish, like truck parking. I mean, that should have been delivered years ago, and we're still nervous about our prospects for truck parking in the next highway bill because Congress hasn't really yet shown a full commitment to getting it done. Now, I don't want to make people nervous. We think we are going to get there in this next highway bill, but there's so many issues that it keeps us busy on a day-to-day basis. And thankfully, in the last few months, we've really seen some breakthroughs, and that had been lacking previously. I think everyone in our office and everyone at OOIDA is excited that, people are finally talking about truckers' needs and what they can do to help. And that's not just from within the administration. That's up on Capitol Hill as well. And it's bipartisan. I mean, we're working with Republicans and Democrats to promote a lot of priorities our members have identified. So that's a long answer to, we keep ourselves busy and we keep our eye on the prize and we just kind of roll with the punches. But it is difficult because our members are primarily small business truckers, and if they need something done, they do it that day. And I think they expect the same in Washington. It's just not the case. I mean, they can get something done in a day. We struggle to get things done in a year, and that's not exclusive to OOIDA. That's everybody on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
I don't know how big of a fan you are of heist movies, all those movies where people have to pull off this big kind of bank heist or break into a home, and of course it's always the last job. This is it. When we get this score, we can actually call it a day and declare victory. And there's always a moment, and it happens not in just heists, but in real life,
the last
too.
job, the one you go to jail for, though?
Well, but the last job, it's always is a moment where it's like literally you are driving now with everybody in the getaway car, and all you have to do is make it past the roadblock and show them some proper ID that shows that you're not the person. Remember Hell and High Water? He's got one roadblock he's got to go through, and then he's free and clear. And it's that kind of thing we're talking about here. I think you guys are so nervous because literally you've got everything that you want, and you're just going to have a heart attack during the dog days of summer as you wait for the confirmations and the final steps and the final push. I just think you guys are like, nobody screw this up, nobody screw this up. I mean, is that kind of the general feeling where we're almost there, but it's been so long since you've been almost there that you don't want to jinx it? Is that kind of the feeling going around you guys right now?
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you accurately portrayed all the anxiety we feel in the government affairs office at OOIDA. And let me add another element to this. I mean, in the world of trucking, OOIDA is a force, but we're still underdogs. So when you get this underdog mentality and then you start seeing accomplishments, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, we're not used to this. We're not used to winning. We're not used to, frankly, the White House retweeting Louis' post about killing speed limiters. Like, this doesn't really happen for the underdogs very often. So we're always just kind of anticipating the other shoe to drop. But it hasn't really been dropping, and I think that's testament to the work we've been doing on Capitol Hill as a government affairs office, as an organization with our leadership being really forceful and out there making cases for all of our priorities, but also our membership. You know, they've been fairly active this year. They had a lot of hope with the Trump administration for some deregulation efforts and improvements on working conditions, and they made a lot of noise. And as a result, the Trump administration is moving forward with a lot of our priorities that put truckers front and center. So bravo to everyone involved, but I'm sure folks don't quite feel as much anxiety as we right now about what's in store.
And Collin, I want to kind of toot Charles' horn for a second for those people who don't know, even the members. Go to OOIDA.com. Since, in fact, you guys do what you do, all the information is available. And the way associations, I won't get into the weeds here, nor will I ask you to explain. I will ask people to actually go to the website and kind of learn about it. You guys are a unique association in Washington, D.C. You are actually set up as an underdog, and that is deliberately part of your design. And I would really encourage people to find out what other trucking organizations require people to become members. And some of those price points are massive, which means you have to kind of be one of the big boys. This is a different kind of game you guys are running, and it's an attempt to do things a little differently. I am neither giving endorsement nor am I saying this is wrong, but you hit the nail on the head. This is set up as a way to give voice to individual drivers, and so it is set up in a membership way to do that. And I want people to make sure they understand exactly how you guys are set up, right?
Yeah, we are we are lean and mean, and members are the core mission, and our members are all truckers, and our leadership is all truckers. So I think we reflect the driver community pretty darn well. And I want to add one more thing. We recently sat down with a member of Congress, a fairly new member of Congress, and this member of Congress was like, so where are you on this? Where are you on that? And when we were done, he said, I thought you guys were on the opposite side of all these issues. And I think that perfectly describes what our challenge is in Washington. There's all these new members coming in. We have to educate them about trucking from the ground up. And unfortunately, a lot of them just kind of instinctively take others' words in our industry as the word of the whole industry. And we have to go in and kind of reverse that. So truckers can do the same by calling their lawmakers, visiting fightingfortruckers.com and getting involved.
Get involved. Okay, speaking of getting involved, I want to let you know, Collin, in the chat, someone's come up with a better bus song for you. Steve says, Thank God and Greyhound You're Gone by Roy Clark.
Oh.
So, I don't know, that sounds a little mean, but maybe it's better than Wheels on the Bus.
No,
maybe it's
I like
got
that.
a little more attitude, perhaps. And then, Collin, I also want to let you know what my favorite from last night, as we're talking about truckers, we're talking about the Trump administration. My favorite, we're at the TXTA conference here, and they had a silent auction last night with all kinds of items, from trips down to silverware. Like, it was all over the board. There was this Yeti tumbler cup for your coffee, and it has this is bipartisan, guys, and you'll understand why. There's a picture of Trump with both of his fingers up, and it says on it, "You're a great truck driver. You're a really great truck driver. The best, really. Other truck drivers, they're losers, total disasters. Everyone agrees. Believe me, you're the best truck driver." And that was up for $65. I thought it was the best item of the whole evening, and it's bipartisan coffee drinking right there for you guys.
There you go, Collin. Collin Long has joined us this morning, as he always does on Washington Trucking Week. He is the and in the credit sequence, and Collin Long as the Director of Government Affairs. Featuring.
It's
featuring.
Like
We're gonna
Louis Pew, 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 and Collin Long, who's
featuring
the man behind the curtain.
Featuring. Oh, don't say that. Oh, my God. Collin will be like, I didn't say it.
Open the curtain. Open the curtain.
I didn't say it.
Open the curtain.
Collin, thank you, brother. And I promise you, anytime I can get Lindsay to come on here and join us, I'm going to do it to you. So you better be ready for Pop.
He's like, oh, God, no.
Thank you, brother, and I'll see you soon, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thanks.